Welcome in, everybody. Tony Caridi with Mountaineer head coach Dana Holgorsen. Coach, biggest challenge as you get ready for your first road game. Is there a whole lot of difference or not?
We try to not make there any difference whatsoever, which obviously you got to go through some logistics of traveling, but and being in unfamiliar territory and all that. But we'll talk to them all week about, how we're going to take care of all our preparation here in Morgantown, all the way through Friday, all our preparations here, and we'll get on a bus, and as opposed to going to a hotel here in Morgantown, we'll go a couple hours farther into Baltimore. For there, it's just going to be the same routine. We'll get to the stadium at the same time. We'll have the same meetings, and then we'll get dressed the same way and go out and play on the same field.
Yeah. Interesting matchup in that we've got two new head coaches at both of these schools and new coordinators on both sides of the ball at Maryland, but you're not totally unfamiliar with their defensive staff.
Yeah, I've Todd Bradford was at Southern Miss and Oklahoma State back when I was back in the Southwest, and understand what his system and his scheme's all about, And, but the flip side is he's pretty familiar with what our offensive scheme is all about, and we're a little more unfamiliar with what they do offensively. Gary Croton's been everywhere, and the last couple of years has been LSU, but he doesn't do a whole lot of that stuff, so it's a little bit of guesswork on what he's going to do. Probably the biggest advantage goes to us as far as our defensive system has been in place for quite some time, and Jeff's got those guys playing pretty good. If
we could talk a little bit about their defense, tell me about what you feel his philosophy is and how does he normally play you, and what kind of defense do you expect?
It's four down. It's a true four down quarters team. That mixes a lot of coverage and doesn't take a whole bunch of chances, but has the ability to get into man pressure situations and zone pressure situations and get into odd fronts and long yardage situations. So we know what to expect. Then it's just about making sure that our players understand what they're up against, and we'll put our guys in situations where they need to make plays.
Your list as a coach, I'm sure every week kind of you write down, hey, these are the things that I come out of my last game with that I really want to focus on this week. What was on your list this week?
Things that we weren't great at were just executing the scheme. We got to get better at what we're doing, and it comes down to what we talked about last week, blocking. We were targeted right, but we didn't finish blocks very well. We had things blocked up perfectly, and we didn't do a very good job of hitting the hole or making people miss, that were being blocked, so to speak. So just stay the course in what we're doing, try to get a week better at it.
I sensed your frustration in your post game about the lack of tempo that Geno Smith has it. He knows how to make it go quick, but the other guys don't quite get it yet. Is that just a matter of taking snaps, or is it in practice where you can say, guys, this is how I want it run?
Yeah, it's, and when you get into a game, things, speed up, to the point to where when the play's over, you got to kind of regroup. Where we can't do that. It's like, between the whistles, we got to play as fast as we possibly can. And then in between the whistles, we got to play with a bunch of tempo and go get lined up and not think so much, So it's mentality, it's understanding how to do it, it's understanding what to do, and it's being familiar with it to the point to where it just all naturally happens.
Well, hopefully it'll start happening on Saturday.
Yep, let's hope so.
Thanks, Coach.
Right.
Well, Jeff, obviously the level of competition increases significantly this weekend as the Mountaineers head over to take on the Terrapins. And first off, I would imagine that you're having some restless nights after watching Danny O'Brien, their quarterback, on tape this week. He's pretty good.
Yeah, he's real good. He's very accurate, has a good command, I think, of what they're asking him to do, and he does. He's also able to run a little bit too. And when we saw him last year, he was a little bit banged up. He had an ankle, I believe maybe the Navy game. He had gotten hurt, but and then he had finished up with a good year. So we hit him up just about right last year. But yeah, he's an outstanding player, and he'll be a problem.
What's interesting is that Randy Edsall goes over to Maryland, and so you were probably thinking maybe in the summer you're thinking, okay, I've played Randy Edsall a good bit. I know what it's going to be. It's going to be power. They're going to double tight, and you're going to try to run the ball. Then they come out against Miami, and you say, my goodness, they're spreading and throwing that ball.
Yeah, but if you think back, last year UConn tempoed a little bit in our game, and they've always been a an 11 personnel team, and then some too tight and 21 personnel. But in terms of seeing what we've seen in Miami, though, it is a little different. Although they've had parts of that in their game at UConn, but Coach Croton is his background is slinging all over the place, and so they're going to present some challenges for our kids. And again, one of the issues is they had an open week and we didn't. So when you get a couple guys in there and nothing to do but meet, it's hard to tell what they'll come up with. So in some respects, it may be just like an opener again for us, where we can see some new things that we haven't seen.
Oftentimes it's still, even though a team throws the ball, it's still stop the run is the #1 objective. Does that hold true this week?
Yep, no question. And they have I like their running back. He's a tough kid. He runs hard, does what they ask him to do, and I wouldn't be surprised if they don't do some more in the running game with him. But they have some capable kids. They have a true freshman. Don't know a whole lot about him, but the Megget kid's a good player, and we saw him a little bit last year also.
Yeah, absolutely. What's the biggest charge you put on your defense this week? What are you selling to them that is the absolute must things that you must accomplish here?
Well, I think we're going to have to do a good job on their screen game. They're going to, and it's like the new craze now. Just throw it out there, and you have to go chase it down. And we have to tackle well. And the big thing for us is trying to be a consistent defense, in that we can take care of our job and not put a Superman cape on, and just do your job, and chances are we'll be a pretty good defense if we can do that.
Blue collar Mountaineer football.
If it'll work, we just got to get them consistent. So
best of luck to you, Jeff.
Appreciate it.